All right, hey there, my friends. Adam here. Good to see you all this fine morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you're tuning in from today. It's gonna be a fun one today. I'm hoping for some good questions. I got some interesting stuff to share with you right off the bat as people start to move in. But also, you may notice flying solo today. Lost my trusty co-pilot for the day. So Super Dave is out. I think he said he's playing golf. We're going on a big golf tournament thing. So good luck, Dave, wherever you are. And for all of you here tuning in, it's gonna be fun. We'll make sure to hit some good questions here. So all good. Before we dive in, let me pull something up here, and I'm gonna walk you through it as well. And we can use this as the topic of conversation for today. If there's nothing particular or specific on your mind, and we can sort of go through that one a little bit. But it worked, magical. I was afraid of resizing things and moving them around, but there we have it. So what you're looking at here is the agency freedom funnel. This is what we talk about and teach and essentially build out inside the agency accelerator. And a lot of moving parts. Looks a little bit confusing at first. I promise you it's actually relatively quite simple. And a lot of it, as you can see, can be automated, systemized, outsourced, delegated, because the whole purpose of this thing is to do exactly what the title says, which is to provide freedom, in regards to all three things of time, location, and financial freedom. So how does this all work? Well, we start on the left side, we move our way to the right, and like any other funnel, I guess they're often top down, and every single piece kind of builds on the next one, leading us to the ultimate promised land at the end. So we can talk about that one as well. Jesse, good to see you, dude. We have no Dave today, my man, so it's you and me. Oh, and Michael, you're here too. Hello from me. Okay, hang on. We'll bust this thing back out later. Anybody that's watching the replay on this is going to be like, why did he bring this thing up and then they didn't even talk about it? We can talk about it more later if nothing else comes through. But for now, there we are. So there we go. Hello from Kelowna. And I know, no Dave. So no witty banter back and forth. It'll just be me entertaining myself, talking about things. If we don't have any questions, you and I will just chat text-wise. Michael, hello from Reno. Hello, Michael. Good to see you. Want to woo a potential HVAC company, but they focus commercial, not residential. They have zero online marketing, GBP advertising, zero. How do you approach commercial versus residential? Similarly, but they're not my favorite. And the reason is because like I will try to get them as a client the same way that I would get any other client. All the same tactics apply. The marketing for a commercial company though is dramatically different than the marketing for a residential company. And many of the things that we typically do for a residential company simply don't apply for commercial. Because they might be getting government contracts, bigger business contracts. There's likely a longer B2B buying cycle, salespeople involved, possible RFPs. All these things that I don't want to do, and that, you can help them a little bit, I guess, with their RFP stuff and maybe make their website look better, but it's going to have marginal utility to them in contrast to a residential company. So, the best thing is I would try to have a conversation with them, see if you're even interested or if they need anything. And if not, I would just move on to the 300,000 other HVAC companies that do residential rather than commercial. All right, I'll witty banter with you. Yeah, exactly. I'll ask a question. Tell me a joke, Jesse. Tell me a joke. I don't know. It'll be challenging. There'll be like that lag where you'll type something in after I say it. I won't check it in time. What is the world coming to? I should bring you on as like a interview thing. I don't even know how to do that with this software. We'll figure that out another time. Jay Shen, how can I start an SMMA? So many videos on that. I won't go over it now because I've got so much on it that it's ridiculous. But if you go to YouTube and you type Adam Erhart, start agency, actually even just go to the main channel and bust open the, I think it's like the very first playlist or the thing on the, right there on the main channel. There's like all of the videos there that are going to show you exactly how to do that. Cool. All right, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna cycle back and forth between this and this. All right, so let's walk through it. And then we'll just keep getting interrupted with questions. It should be fun. So actually, I wonder if I can do this. You might not be able to see, and I'm scared of moving things around, but on the very far left side of the screen, you'll see outbound and you'll see inbound. These are essentially the two really the only ways of driving leads and traffic and attention and sales for an agency. In fact, for pretty much any business, there's some kind of outbound marketing, which we can do, which is like outreach. You can see our fancy little icons there. So DMs, email, calls. We can do networking, we can do door knocking. We're essentially putting ourselves out there. Advertising still counts, although we don't teach it or talk about it a ton because it's normally not the best strategy for businesses or agencies doing like sub 30K a month. And then inbound, this is where we're going to do, for lack of a better term, content creation. We're going to want to do it in a very strategic and logical way so that we're not just making content for content's sake, but this is designed to get clients to come to you. And there's sort of a multifaceted benefit to creating inbound content is that it makes everything else you do more effective as well. So when you have a large library of client generating assets of online mini trust signals, people go and they research you and they look that stuff up and they find it. And then automatically you've got more of that know, like, and trust factor. So someone's going to be more apt to want to do business with you. So everything kind of fills into another. The trick is if your agency is doing sub 10K a month, maybe even sub 20K a month, your focus needs to be pretty much exclusively on outreach because we're going to be able to make more offers to more people and get faster feedback. And that's a big thing. Early on in my career, when I started my agency, I did a ton of content marketing, way too much content marketing. And sales did not go very well or very fast. And then I switched to doing more outreach and everything just exploded. And then fortunately, I had some of the content assets I was able to repurpose and we can sort of create a flywheel from there. But you can't really do a ton of content and expect people to just show up at your door because we don't have the opportunity to make as many direct offers. And of course, then we can't iterate on it. All right. So that's outbound, inbound. Jesse, you got a question. Then we'll come back to our funnel. Context. Creating a template I can duplicate in terms for copywriting for therapist websites. Reading the Storybrand. You mentioned Dan Sullivan might be better. Can you elaborate? Yeah, Dan Kennedy. Might be better. So Dan Sullivan's the founder of Strategic Coach, still really good, but different. From a copywriting perspective, yeah, Dan Kennedy would be it. And so Dan Kennedy's got something called, well, a million things, honestly. The Ultimate Sales Letter is the one that, I wonder if I have a template of it. Let me just see. Let me see if I can do a quick search for it in my drives. Because it is... Ultimate Sales Letter, find it. It is a really good, thorough plan to basically just make sure that you're checking all the boxes and going through everything that needs to be gone through in a way that allows us to like walk people through everything so that no stone goes unturned and no objection gets missed and everything just follows a nice, clear, logical order. I think Storybrand's good. It's just simpler, which isn't a bad thing. But it does leave us with a couple gaps. All right, hang on. Oh, that's not going to work well with copy and paste. All right, anyways, just look up Ultimate Sales Letter. I found the document, but it's a bit of a mess. I'll read it out real quick here. But it's like we start with the headline, most critical element, grab their attention. Subheadline, support the headline, provide some kind of context. Then we have an opening, which engages the reader, makes a hook, presents a problem. Then we have the main body copy, which is where we go through the context of the sales letter. So we use a lot of like problem, agitate, solve, PAS here. We can use stories. We can use all those other things use social proof, back it up with any stats. This is where I like the OCPB framework as well. So we think of an objection a client would have. Then we make a claim that counteracts that objection. Then we provide some kind of proof, social proof, systems proof, whatever. Then we outline the benefit of that. So I'll like vacillate, word of the day, vacillate between like PAS, OCPB, back to PAS, expand it, build on the next one. Then we present the offer. Once that's all done, this says, I think this is the right order. Sounds off to me a bit. Then it has guarantee, then scarcity urgency, then CTA. What I found is that the way that I normally build my sales pages are variations of that. So I'll start with like the headline and then the subheadline. Then I'll present the problem that someone has. Then I'll present the offer right away. Then I'll go through the details on what it is, what it includes. Then some social proof, then the guarantees, then all the other jazz from there. Yeah. Is Storybrand a good framework to write a website for a therapist, do all the writing? Yeah, I still think it is, for sure. Yes, Kennedy, you betcha. Yeah, for the homepage, about page, and the services page. Yeah, I mean, again, like the thing or the problem with most websites' homepages is that they become this like dumping ground for all of the stuff, right? So I like Storybrand in that context is that it's going to be clear and specific about what something's done, and it's going to try to simplify the language, which most people just mess right up. And I think the benefit of that is that it will cause us to use like plain normal English language, not fancy pants jargon. But for a sales page, it like falls so short. Like that's where I like Dan Kennedy's stuff is like, we just need way more context and story and all that for most offers. So yeah, you could put it on the services page. Also, the about page is one of the most underrated pages on any website. I spend an inordinate amount of time working on sales page, about pages for them. Not mine. Mine's terrible. Don't use that as an example, but like other people's, because that page gets read. Like if you just look at the stats for any website, it's like homepage, about page, then services page. So yeah, we spend time there. And remember, the thing with the about page is that it's designed to be appealing and relevant to the buyer. So it's actually, fun fact about pages, they're not about us. They're about the other person and what they can achieve and who they can become. All right. Brandon, have you found that joining networking groups or Chamber of Commerce is effective for growing the agency? Yes, indeed, definitely. I was a part of all of the local, not all of them, many of them, for years when I first started growing my agency, and it absolutely worked. Sorry, I'm going to cough a lot. I've been making videos all morning and my throat's shut. But yeah, absolutely worth it. There's another group called, not EO. We'll talk about that one in a second. BNI, Business Networking International. Toastmasters for public speaking. It's actually really good. These are all, pardon me, the quality of the club though is dependent on the quality of the members. So if you're in like a really small town and there's not a lot of people and not a lot of like business, less valuable. If you're in a big place, try to find the best one. Like you're going to have multiple, say, Toastmasters. Get to the one that's the most active and engaged, probably a lunchtime group for like busy corporate executives or whoever else. That'll be where you want to go. Chamber of Commerce, kind of hit and miss, but normally pretty good. I mean, I joined the Chamber of Commerce anyway, because you want that backlink on your website, massive SEO juice. There's another group called EO, Entrepreneurs Organization. But you need to be at $1 million a year, I think, to join. $2 million a year? I think it's $1 million a year. So good, but like less for networking. Whereas things like BNI, super for networking. Hey, Candice, good to see ya. Brandon, yes. Oh, there we go. Well, that was easy. Perfect. Agreed. I should read these things first before I just answer them all. But yes, totally Candice. So yeah, they're good. Okay, magic. Hey, Q. Hello. Good to see you. Started cold calling for the first time this week. Hey, good for you. That's a massive step. That first cold call is the hardest one you'll ever make. And then it gets easier from there. So that's really wicked, man. Good for you. I'm proud of you. I was listening to, hang on, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to try and find it now. And he was talking about why most people don't do the things they need to do. Oh, I got to read that later. Where's the book though? Hang on. What's it called? It's by James Hollis. And he was talking about the reason people don't take action is because of fear or lethargy. And fear keeps us safe and from doing anything dangerous that's potentially going to kill us. I just realized I didn't drink any of my water. I'm choking to death. Now it doesn't work. This is going to be fun. Hang on. We don't do anything because of fear, because everything's scary and we don't want to die. And then lethargy is like, can't be motivated or can't be bothered. And then he goes through a couple different things. I've certainly experienced both of those all the time. Less now, but like they still come up once in a while where I was like, I don't really want to do that or put myself out there or whatever. The way to get over it is to just constantly remind yourself of what's at stake. So it's like, you got one life, we're all going to die. Nobody really cares that much about like us making a quick cold call or anything. Our goals and your dreams are valuable and important. And if you don't get them now, like when? So, all right, anyway. That's an awkward water bottle. All right. So good for you. All right. Danny Hilburn, currently full-time pilot. Hey, no kidding. Good for you. That's cool. I used to be a full-time pilot. I don't know if you knew this. I flew business jets for years and years and years. Went to school, became a pilot, did all that. So I know your story. 2.5 years left till retirement, hoping to start an agency soon while still W-2 employee. Is an hour in the AM plus 1 to 2 hours in the evening enough time to fulfill clients? Yeah, it is. More than enough. In fact, and the reason is because, so many thoughts here. One of which, it's enough time if we don't have a ton of clients, but it's enough time even with a ton of clients because we can outsource and delegate it. So the way that I like to run my agencies and the way that I teach and all of that is that we try to outsource and delegate as much as humanly possible. The real challenge and therefore the real rewards in growing an agency are your ability to generate clients. Like that's it. So anybody is able to do SEO, Facebook ads, Google page business optimization. Like these are not complicated things. Like if you can fly a plane, you can do that stuff, but so can thousands and thousands of other people. So you don't need to do that stuff. Like where your skills and your abilities are going to come in handy are being able to handle these situations, being accountable to a client, having conversations with them, letting them know what's going on, basically just being a genuinely good, helpful person. And then the rest is, totally outsourceable. I would definitely start right away. Yeah, there's no point in waiting at all because you can get going and get cracking right now so that by the time you do leave, like your agency will then be 2.5 years older, which is going to buy you more credibility and proof and possibly a couple more extra testimonials and all of those things. Yeah, so I quit flying and then started an agency with like no backup plan or anything or no idea what marketing even was. If I could go back in time, I would have done a smoother transition for sure. Can't argue because things worked out okay for me, but it would have been an easier time, a lot more fun instead of death grinding. Brandon, right on. You betcha, buddy. Rescue helicopters. Oh, that's cool. That's exciting. Yeah, I've flown in a helicopter. Fun fact. So fun story about my only helicopter experience. We did this helicopter sightseeing tour in Maui, like through all the volcano island things or whatever it was. And, it was, how many people were on it? A few. It was a larger helicopter. I don't know anything about helicopters. Anyway, everyone but me and my wife threw up on the thing because it was just like so nauseating. Just up and down and all these things. And like everybody got sick on this thing. My wife didn't feel great, but she was fine. And then thanks to flying, my stomach was pretty much bulletproof. So I was like, all right, well, this will be okay. But it was gnarly. Yeah, it was gnarly. All right. Other questions, other thoughts, other ideas. I'll let those go in and we can pull up the agency freedom funnel again while we wait. It'll be like our intermission to sort of spur. Oh, hang on. That's a structure. Hang on. Let's see if I can find it again. Flow chart. Share. Try this one. Yeah, there she is. All right. So we can look at that while we wait. Q. Feel great now. Also watch your rap compilation. Oh, right on. Yeah, the skits. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, dude. Yep, just being my true weird self. All right, so where were we on this one? We'll just keep going through as things go. So we hit outbound, we hit inbound. We talked about that really quickly. We got to talk appointments next. All right, appointments. So, fun fact about getting agency clients. Everything revolves around that little yellow box that you see there on the screen. That is the center of our world. That is the sun. Ooh, aptly colored. And the reason is because we don't get clients without a conversation. So we need to have conversations. Also, if you look at for those of you inside the Agency Accelerator program, for anybody not aware, there's some links somewhere around here. There's the students and the clients and your colleagues that are getting the best results by far are doing the most outreach and getting the most appointments. That's it. Like, it doesn't really matter to an extent, like the niche and the offer and all of that. It's like mostly putting yourself out there and having these conversations with potential clients. The more conversations you have, the more money you will make, period, full stop. End the live stream right now. That's it. Like, you've got to find a way to have more appointments, which is why all of the blue boxes lead into that. So again, that's the main goal. We cannot bypass that. We cannot undervalue it. We use something called a no-fail sales system when we're doing it. So obviously we've got a bit of a system and a script and a template and things like that to follow, which makes it easier. But another thing that we do is we do have multiple offers to give a client so that we can work within their budget. So obviously my proposition is that I want you charging like $1,500, $2,500 upwards, ideally, eventually, so that you're able to do less work with less clients, but provide better results and have a more deep and personal relationship. But there are going to be some clients who either can't afford that or don't trust you yet. And that's fine. That's why we have, I call it waterfall pricing, where we sort of just like step down. So we'll present them with a core offer. Then we do have like a back pocket offer where we can move them into. And that allows us to capture just an inordinate amount of value from the leads and the conversations that we're having. Because I don't like an appointment to go to waste, mostly because, especially if I feel that I can actually help the person on the other end, it's sort of doing them a disservice to be like, well, if you can't afford that, I guess you're kind of hooped. All right, good luck. So I like something. Obviously, we're not going to be able to do it to the same extent because they're not paying as much. So therefore, we can't allocate as many resources of our time and energy to it, but still important to have. All right. Appointments. Next, we'll talk trust funnel, onboarding, fulfillment, whatever. But first, Jesse. Adam, I want to have more appointments, but I feel overwhelmed with the work I have right now. I'm desperately trying to create systems and keep it going and make sure no one is mad at me. Thoughts? Yeah. Systems. Like that's the secret. I think systems and delegation and outsourcing and then also giving yourself permission to not have to be the one to do the work. So you are responsible for the work being done, but you're not responsible for doing it. Right? So you need to make sure it gets done, but you don't have to be the one. So we can get contractors, freelancers, outsourcers, friends, family, local kids at the college who want to build websites. Like we can get it done anyway. And then you can put your stamp of approval on it and look through all of that. And then once you do that a few times, you do build out an SOP, standard operating procedure, just based on having done it. So it's like, what did I do? What did I do next? What did I do next? What got missed? What should I have done? And then we start to build them out from there. It's hard for me to say, don't worry about people getting mad at you. Because yeah, you definitely want to do a good job. I think though, again, we often worry or we often associate the amount of hours that we're putting in with like, we think the client can know. And they don't know and they probably don't care. What they really care about is the results and the deliverables that you're doing. So whether it takes you like 1 minute or 10 days to do it, like it's irrelevant as long as they're getting something that's really high quality. So they won't get mad at you if you deliver what you said you were going to, when you said. Now, in the early days, again, this probably means like some late nights and some early mornings and just sort of cranking through it. I'm not against that at all. I don't think it's a long-term solution, but I think like make hay while the sun shines. That sounds right. So it's like if all of this work and all of these clients are coming in, my recommendation is normally to try to take it to the maximum of your ability. Have a chat with your family and let them know, hey, we're going through a really big push season right now. We're going to try to stack a bunch of cash and then I'm going to pay you back with like an amazing trip to Disneyland or Europe or whatever else you want to do. And then while you're slogging through it, yeah, try to get as much help as you can from as many places. And then you're not as afraid either to start spending on those systems and on those contractors, freelancers, outsourcers, things like that. It's really hard to build systems when you're not jammed and when you're also strapped for cash. The reason is because you can't imagine building a system for something that's not happening. So we build SOPs based on stuff that's happened. So I kind of like getting ridiculously busy for a bit because it shows me where my systems are breaking. So it's like, well, why am I spending so much time doing these stupid invoices? Oh, because I don't have a good invoicing system. All right, who can help me with this? What software, what person, whatever it is? Why is this website constantly needing updates? Oh, I don't have a good backup and update system or like one person that could go in and do all these simple things. So we need that as well. And then also with all the cash flow coming in, we're not as afraid to sort of put it out opposed to if we're going through a dry spell. Yeah, awesome, buddy. Brandon, if you were to offer first 30 days free to gain experience and testimonials, what services would you think would be the most effective for those first 30 days of free trial? Yeah, it's a good question, dude. I think the problem with the question though is that it's backwards, right? Because we always do the niche first and then we figure out what services we're going to help them with so that we make sure that it's in alignment with them. So for example, like I could say like Google Ads, because basically any kind of advertising is always going to provide the fastest results because we pay money for the impressions. That said, that's probably not a good thing for like a lot of businesses, especially it's not free. There's trial and error unless you have a proven system and process and templates and ads and all of that in there. And then we've also got to dial in like the offer and the funnels and all of those other things. So like in theory, it's good, but in practice, it's like, well, what's the business? What are they looking for? That said, there are a few things that I like. Customer reactivation campaigns. I love those. So we basically get a list of the customers. That sounds right. So get a list of your clients' customers, and then we'll send out some kind of offer to them. And that allows us to make instant money. It's stupid how well that works. Yeah, that's probably my like all-time favorite. Followed by that, any kind of like Google business profile optimization starts to look good really right away. So you can flesh it out, make sure it's a little beefier, add some more images, some more descriptions. We can start building citations and backlinks, which depending on the competition of that business can often have like a relatively immediate impact on it. In fact, I just made a video, I think it's with the editors right now, where I was like, I rank a web page or site or something like that in 24 hours just to prove it's possible, to prove it's not luck, one of those things. And it worked. Because sometimes, as long as you find something with like low enough competition and you put the right backlinks and keywords and content on it, like you can rank things almost instantly. So stay tuned. Coming soon to a YouTube channel near you. I think it's on the main channel. What else would I do? Those are the big ones. Maybe set up some kind of like AI chat widget, missed call text back. I mean, pretty much like the go high level services would be the ones that I would use because they're going to be free to offer, like once you have it. And I would stay away from ads because they will cost money. Perfect. Q, how often to test different outreaches? Try cold calling 100 to 1,000 times, then switch to Loom audits 100 to 1,000, then cold email, etc. Yeah, I like doing them all simultaneously. So especially in the early days, there's no reason not to do like 100 of each. So you can make 100 cold calls in a couple hours, and then Loom audits, I would probably just use that as like a cold email strategy instead. So I might send like 20 Loom audits. And then cold emails, infinitely scalable. So we would like, I'd send at least 100 a day, for that one. And I would just do them all. And then I would check out as I'm doing them all, I would also be rotating through my offers. So the big thing that we're looking for here is something called statistical significance, fancy pants word for, did I do enough of them and get enough results back to make the educated, not even decision, like to get the data back that this actually worked. So one of the best/worst examples, something I see all the time, doesn't drive me as crazy as it used to, but it still drives me a little crazy, is somebody will be like, I ran Facebook ads, man, they just don't work. I was like, oh, that sucks. I'm sorry to hear. What happened? Like, yeah, I ran a campaign and nobody clicked and nobody bought. I was like, okay, well, how much did you spend? I was like, well, I was spending $10 a day. Okay. How many days? Well, I ran it for 3 days. They didn't get any sales, so I turned it off. I was like, okay. How many ads did you test? Well, I wrote one and targeted these people. I was like, oh, and it just keeps getting worse. It's like, well, how much was the thing you're selling for? And they're like, well, it's a $3,000 thing. I was like, so you're telling me you spend $10 a day and you're expecting to make a $3,000 sale from $10 for like a 300x ROI. Like that would be magic. And you've never run ads before and you're not testing anything. And I see this all the time. I see it with cold email too. It's like cold email's not working and someone will have sent like 50. Cold calls don't work either. And they'll have made 100 calls. I was like, what if you called people and they were just out of the office or not interested, or they just had a fight with their kids or their wife or their dog or whatever it was. Fight with their dog. Bad dog. So it's like, whatever the case, right? Like we need more data back. So that's what I'm more concerned about, which is why I typically say I'm looking at like 500 to 1,000 of each before I'm making any kind of decision. So I'll make like 500 calls. Then, I'll pivot the script a little bit as I'm going, like if I'm basically getting nowhere. But cold email, I'll test, say, 3 different emails on a list of like at least 1,000, probably 2,000 people. So that way I'm getting like 600 with that message, 600 with that message, 600 with that message. Then I'm able to see which ones give me the best reply rates. Yeah. And then we just keep going. I don't know if we ever give up. We just continue refining. And then eventually you tap into one that is so much better than everything else that you can afford to put the others on the back burner and just like go all in on the one that's delivering all the results. Awesome. Jesse, I'm seeing KJ making 67 a month now. How's he doing that with copy? I feel like that would be incredibly overwhelming. Does he have the systems I'm needing? Yeah. KJ's doing dope. I it's funny because he recorded a testimonial and he was up to like, so KJ's testimonials, he went from 3K a month to 55K a month. And then after he recorded it, he sent me a message like, I don't know, like literally an hour later. He's like, never mind, I'm 61K now. And yeah, now it's 67 a month. So he's just crushing it. He basically did everything that I told him to do and never argued once ever, I don't think, in all the time that he was there. So yeah, he did really well. How's he doing it without getting overwhelmed? He's probably getting a little overwhelmed. I pushed him pretty hard too in the early days. So he's got better systems now, I'm sure. I don't know exactly which ones, but he's got things set up in Notion, and then he's just organized and copy, paste, and move things and shuffle and all that. I should bring him on, actually. We should have a chat with him and figure out the systems that he's using. But yeah, he's just a really driven dude, super good dude, really good guy. He actually helped with a ton of the messaging around the program and all of that. So yeah, I like my KJ. All right, Mia. Hey, Mia, good to see you. Having problem regarding pricing. Potential clients all have different problems. For example, one needs lead gen, but just for Instagram, Facebook advertising, and my lead gen package also includes Google Ads. Okay, let's see here. So, for example, one needs lead gen, but just for Instagram, Facebook advertising, and my lead gen package also includes Google Ads. Yeah, that's fine. We just don't do Google Ads then. I don't think you even need to really adjust your pricing. And the way that I would position this to the client is to be like, yeah, adding this additional advertising platform is really no extra work because we'll have the copy and all of that. So it's basically the same price whether or not. I mean, if you want, you could knock it down. Like, I don't know, if you're charging $2,000, you could knock it down to $1,750 or $1,500 or something like that. Yeah. Or we just build out separate packages. Like if you find out all of your clients want ads of some kind, I might have $2,000 for Facebook and Instagram, add Google Ads for an extra $500 a month as well. Because yeah, again, the hard work with a client is that initial phase of figuring out their market, their demographics, their offer, all of that. Once that's done, the advertising platforms, I don't want to say it's copy and paste, but it's like we're pretty much making just a few minor tweaks to the offer as we put it on the different platforms to make it look like it belongs there. So yeah, I would try that. Work with them and have a chat and see what they're open to, but don't just automatically discount your rates because you're getting rid of something that they don't necessarily need. All right, Candice, I've tried my best to explain to them the benefit of having this and why it's crucial and what we can do, dispute, but they're still hesitant. Okay, interesting. So I don't know if there's other context on this one, Candice, but I think I can figure it out. Basically, hang on. There we go. Bring you back. Come back. There you go. So I've got two thoughts on this one. The first of which is the pithy answer that is not great, but it's the one that I stand by probably the most, which is that I only ever really preach to the choir. So I never want to be in a position where I'm trying to convince someone of the value of what I'm doing. That's a lost battle, basically. It's not worth my time, my energy. Oh, it's frustrating because it's like I'm having to educate someone on something. It'd be like, I imagine a doctor trying to convince his like patients to stop smoking. And they're like, well, doc, I really like it. He's like, yeah, but it's killing you. So, and then they're like, yeah, but I kind of like it. And he's like, yeah, but it's killing you. And it's just this, why are we having this conversation? Do what I say or get the hell out of my office. So I kind of feel like that a little bit sometimes. That said, if I find that I'm like constantly butting my head with something that I'm trying to sell, it's because I haven't done a good enough job of positioning it in a way that actually matters to the client. So if I say, hey, I can help you dispute a negative review, and they're like, yeah, I don't know. What I'd rather say is like, hey, are you aware that when someone Googles you, they see this negative review? And when people see that, they're definitely not calling. Like, I don't know. Obviously, you can use a little better bedside manner than that. But like, we know if someone goes there and they're like, this person was a complete a-hole and they trashed my place and destroyed everything and I hate them and on and on and on. It's like that's a little rough. And if we see 2 or 3 of those, we're probably just going to go on to the next business. So yeah, we got to get those taken care of. Okay. All right. I know that my majority prospect are the one who don't see emails often. I know that if I cold call them, that'll work great, but I'm not confident on calling. How to overcome that? So I would push back a little bit. Hang on, that changes. How do I change the size of this again? Oh, there we go. I'd push back on that a little bit. Like, are your prospects don't see your emails? And if they don't see your emails, is it because of the prospects or because of the emails and like the way that they're being sent? Because statistically, everybody checks email a lot. Some people, it's like 14 to 20 times a day. So we can almost always get a hold of someone via email. It's not the fastest way. Cold calling pretty much is, but it's certainly the most scalable way. So I don't know if I'd give up on that one yet. As far as cold calling, if you're not confident on it, I guess there's a couple thoughts here. The first of which is that try to do as much research and planning and preparation as you can on cold calling scripts. What am I going to say? How am I going to do this? Followed by that, do as much role playing as you can with yourself in the mirror or a friend or a family member, and have them be not rude, but like curt, like really short. What do you want? What are you doing? I don't need that. And then think of how am I going to respond to that? How am I going to react? Because it very much becomes like autopilot. Back when I was doing nonstop calling, oh man, I was almost a machine. Like someone would be like, not interested. That's too expensive. And I'd be like, oh, sorry to hear that based on this. And I would just have this constant, they would say this, I would say this, they would say this, I would say that, they would say this, I would say that. And it worked like a charm. And then you just become, almost like a robot, which is probably not a great way to go through life. But as far as cold calling goes, it's the best way to go through it. Followed by that, you've got to try to detach you from the actual process of it. So when someone says no, that doesn't mean they don't like you. And the reason is because they don't even know you. They have no idea who you are. How could they not like you? They've never met you. They might not like what you're doing. They might not like that you're interrupting them and a bad time for them, but like, that's not personal. I don't know. I think that's pretty much it. How else do you get over it? Practice. I guess that's the other way. Be surrounded by other people doing it, and then you can all raise each other up. Again, this is the importance of a community, not necessarily the agency accelerator community, but like any community you can get around of high performing agency owners. Like you'll hear them talk about the pains that they're going through and, oh, they said this, but then I did that. And then you remind yourself of your goals and you just sort of, you keep going through the paces until it becomes more comfortable. Nothing new is ever comfortable. Expression I like, every master was once a disaster. And if you look back at my early stuff, it was a disaster, but still worked. All right. Would it be a good idea to lead with a comprehensive package or a smaller one? I lead with a comprehensive and then I offer the smaller one. And the reason is because of price anchoring. So what I don't want to do is go in and be like, I have this super tiny offer and it's $1, but I also have this other one and it's $10,000. We do it the other way. And so I'll be like, all right, so based on what you've told me, I think the best thing for you is this, and it's $5,000 a month. That said, actually, I'm rephrase that a little bit. We have a couple options. First option is this. It's it's $5,000 a month. That said, it's not the only option. I think it's the best one for you, but I've got another one that's quite a bit less expensive if you don't mind losing a few of those options. And it's and that's $1,500 a month. Is there a direction that you think would suit you better? Is there sort of one way that you're leaning more than the other? And they'll tell you, they're like, yeah, I want the big one, or I want this, or I want the small one. I use that all the time and it works very well. So I like that. All right, recently started an agency for home services and see so many opportunities to help businesses. I have various solutions, MCTV, reviews, combo, etc. Offer package with all three for comprehensive cover. Still working on finishing up. Also, would you drive leads to a unique lead page or the solutions page on a website? We always drive leads to a unique lead page. Always, because it's got to be specific based on the context of where they came from. So where are they coming from? What was the message that got them from there? And then the landing page that they're going to better be in alignment with that. As far as solutions, I think that's fine. I like that. I mean, I typically like to find the one that they're going to want the most, and then I'll base the package and build it around that. but include the others as well. But again, have conversations with them, find out which ones they really want, because often what can happen, I think 3 is fine, but a lot of people will just like stuff their packages with 1,000 different things. And then instead of these becoming value adds, they become reasons for the client not to buy. Because like, well, I don't need that. I don't need that. I don't need that. And next thing you know, they're asking you to cut your prices. Whew. All right. We're doing good. Jesse, you mentioned last week that you're building a phase 2 of the program, like systems and process and stuff. Oh yeah, dude, I was up at 2:45 this morning, 2:45. So it's funny, actually, I was chatting with my, one of my counselors yesterday, and we were talking about, like why I keep working and why I'm still so driven. And some of it probably comes from an unhealthy part of feeling more valuable as a human being when I'm producing stuff. But the other part is like, I genuinely like this stuff. Like money aside, I've got enough to never work again, and I just really find it interesting, super fun. So yeah, 2:45 or 2:50 a.m. this morning. I was up at 3:30 yesterday, day before. I've been putting in mad hours, but yeah, it's coming together. What does it look like? When do you think it'll be in full force? Oh man, with how hard we're pushing right now, I'd say like a couple weeks, maybe 3 at the most. Hold me to that. Push me on that one. Cause yeah, both Dave and I, and Alex is making stuff too. We're really pushing this stuff together. Basically what we're trying to do is take all of the systems and operations that I have in my agencies and then make them more accessible and more streamlined so that you can use them, other people can use them. Because right now, a lot of them are like my SOPs are customized for my scatterbrain, and they're also built out with a lot of looms. So there's just like video after video after video after video. And we're trying to document the process of like what that looks like. How do we actually put that into practice? What does this look like when we put it into like a Kanban board, Notion or Trello or something like that? So yeah, what's it look like? I can give you here. It's mostly around, let me move this. Actually, it's not mostly around everything. It's mostly around all these bloody things. Onboarding and fulfillment are probably the key aspects of it. And then actually, I don't even have hiring on this funnel yet, but I guess that's sort of half under fulfillment of systemization. So yeah, it's around how do we sort of streamline the entire process of it, which comes from productizing the service delivery mostly. Then the fulfillment of it, how do we outsource, delegate, automate, get everyone else to do it? And then all of these other profit maximizers on the end, the retention, the referral, the recommendation. So this is how we upsell clients into like different packages, how we get them to give us referrals, how we get them to stay forever. All of this is sort of being built out. And really the promise of it, or the goal is, how do we take our agency from 6 to 7 figures? Like that's really it. And the way to go from 6 to 7 figures, even multi-7, I'd say it probably caps out at like 3 mil. Probably. Yeah, that sounds about right. Like after about 3 mil a year with an agency, you're starting to look at much more complex systems. So now you need like ops managers and way more account managers. Your profitability starts to dip a little bit more there. I found that like there's a really, really good sweet spot for agencies around like high 6 figures, low 7 figures, like 600, 700K a year with like 80% profit margins, 1.5 mil a year with like 70% profit margins, 60% profit margins, 2 mil a year, 60% like you can make a lot of money, and have to do, it sounds lazy, but like very little work. Clearly I still work like an absolute crazy person building all this stuff. But my agencies require nada. Like I think I put in an hour a week probably on them now. Even that might be more. Okay. Yeah, you betcha, my friend. Glad. Thanks for being here for the questions and the engagement. Jesse, also, what does it look like to be an expert marketer? Yeah, that's a good question. Here. Oh, there's a follow-up. There we go. Like, what would it look like for me to arrive at being global leader in marketing for therapists? Oh, so that's 2 different questions. And one is easier than the other. So expert marketer, I think, is a self-anointed title that you just give yourself. Like there's no certification, accreditation. I got called a marketing expert way before I was a marketing expert, way before. I had no business being a marketing expert, but I had some content and I had a big Twitter following at the time, and people were quoting me on random stuff. I knew like a fraction of what I know now. It's actually terrifying to look back and think, but that's okay. That's the evolution, right, of all of us. So expert marketer, I think, is very much just a thing. Call yourself whatever you want. Also, like expert marketer, what kind of marketing, right? Like copywriting, ads, content, funnels, offers, strategy, all the above. Like there's analytics. Do you have to be an expert at everything? Like, for example, me and Google Analytics, we're not good friends at all. Dave, on the other hand, is great with Google Analytics and tracking and all of that, like analytical code stuff. He goes in and he does all the stuff that takes me forever. So I don't do it. So if that's required, then I would lose my title. So that's step one. How do you become the global leader in marketing for therapists? Way easier. Because it just comes down to sort of a combination of like creating authority content. We'll talk about that in a second, and creating a lot more of it, and then building your personal brand around that. So you become the recognized person in that space. The beauty of having a market like that is you can identify the conferences that they go to, and then you start speaking at them. The online groups and forums they hang out, and then you start engaging in them. The experts and the books that they read, and then you start interviewing those people on your podcast and on your YouTube channel. You basically just immerse yourself into their world, eat, drink, sleep, all of the stuff that they do. And you by default become the leader because no one else really comes to mind when I think of that anyway. So I think it's yours for the taking. Yeah. Fun fact, actually, I did that years ago when I hired, Evan Carmichael was a YouTuber and his team, back when we were trying to build the channel, and they asked like what my goal was. And I was like, I want to become like the marketing guy on YouTube. And I think I hedged at first and was like, maybe on this random thing. And they're like, oh no, you can probably have marketing. And, I don't think I own marketing, but I think just due to the nature of having so much content on it, it becomes like, you can't miss me. So I might not be the only one, but like people will eventually find me if they type marketing on YouTube. All right, my pleasure. Steps creating a no-brainer offer. Hormozi's books on that is good on that one. $100 Million Offers by Alex Hormozi. I like that one. It clarifies things really well, I think, if that's what you're looking for. We have a slightly more complicated process that would be more niche specific, but I think that's probably a good place to start. Jeffrey. Oh, awesome, man. Glad you're here. Glad you're liking it. All right. I heard that great source of inbound leads creating content. If you're working for auto detailing business, bring leads, appointments for them. How are you going to create content to build authority? So is the question, how am I going to create content for them or for me to get more of those clients? Let's assume for them. So I have an auto detailing business. How am I going to create content to build authority? Oh, that'd be so, I don't want to say easy, but like, it'd be so easy because we use something called UGC, which stands for user generated content. And it might be a combination of like UGC and MeGC, because every time that I cleaned a car, I would have pictures of it. I'd have videos of before and after. I would have, specials showing the products that we use and how we do it, the different technique we use. I'd talk about the local area that I operated in. I'd have a presence on wherever my ideal target market was. Let's say that I identify that it's men and women into fitness seem to be my best people. I clean cars outside of gyms. When they go do a workout, I'll clean your car while you wait. I'm on Instagram. I'm probably not on YouTube as much. I'm definitely optimizing my Google business profile for local business. Oh man, so many things. I've had these like dreams that I have to stop myself from doing. Where I'd like, there's so many small businesses, quote unquote, that I want to start because marketing for them is just so much easier. It's just so much easier because like no one's doing a good job. So I think if I were to like, maybe that'll be a fun video one day. I don't want to actually do the work myself. That's the problem. I got to find another business I can get to do. I don't want to clean cars. I'm not very good at cleaning my own car. But like I'd start a power washing business, a window cleaning business, a car detailing business. And, oh man, we would just dominate it because like nobody is creating the kind of content that they could be doing. And it would be it's just so easy, to do the content for it. So anyway, put a pin in that one. Jesse, you'll take it. Yeah. Awesome, buddy. I'll keep you posted. Keep me, in fact, what we should do also is as we finish building out some of the systems in the next couple weeks, we'll hop on a call and we'll walk you through some of them and be like, is this what you need? Is this what you think? What else do you need? What else would be good? All of those things. Cause yeah, Dave and I were talking, we're like, you're definitely in the ideal client avatar person of like when you came in and where you got to. If you don't mind, you don't have to post this now. You can pretend you didn't even hear this, but like, what were you at when you started the program and what are you at now? Cause I don't know if I ever found out where you were at revenue wise before and where you're at now, but it'd be good to get that. Mia, what do I think of starting a conference? I think it would be a shiny object, Mia. I think it would take us away from like the revenue stuff. I don't love it, but mind you, again, I'm so not organized. So I would need an event planner and an organizer. The way that I understand marketing conferences from my friends that have them is that year 1, you lose money. Year 2, you break even. And year 3, you maybe make a profit. So I don't love that model. Cause I can make profit doing everything else right away. Another auto detailing marketer, right on, taking over the world. We'll start an auto detailing marketer group. Probably not. That's a good idea. Noah's asking how I should make content, bring client myself, like guiding detailer, how marketer can change and help their business. Yeah. So for me, I would create content that shows, hey, if you have an auto detailing shop, here's 5 pieces of content you should make this week. Hey, if you have an auto detailing shop, here's how to get more clients by optimizing your Google business profile. Hey, if you're an auto detailer, here's how to optimize your website to turn every visitor into a potential client. If you I would just make all of those things all of the time. That's basically all of my first YouTube videos. I wonder if I can even pull them up. If we look at, let me see if I can find them because I think it would be a good example. Oh, I'm live on YouTube apparently. Thanks for letting me know. Okay, let's see. If I go to videos and I go to oldest, it's like, yeah, the oldest ones. How to increase brand awareness, how to fail-proof your business, how to build brand ambassadors, the minimalist guide to marketing, 11 things your customers won't tell you, 9 ways to simplify your marketing, how to estimate market demand and why free research is the best. These are terrible titles, by the way. 8 years ago. The importance of knowing your audience, basic marketing techniques to grow your business, marketing strategies for small business, 3 keys to successfully market your business online. Again, that's it. That's the whole thing. We're just making content that our ideal target market would find useful and valuable. And then they consume it and then they associate you with being the provider of that value. If you actually help them, then they come to you when they finally need help. The mistake I made early on was that I should have put in more calls to action, being like, by the way, if you'd like help with this, just let me know. You'll find a form below the video and we can have a quick chat, see if I can help. I should have done that in every video and I never did that. So it took a long time before I got smart. All right. Jishan, where can I learn SMMA? Can you suggest any video or channel? Yep. Probably mine. Yeah. Leave that one there. Okay, perfect. Right on. My pleasure. Okay, Jesse, struggling between 4K and 2K a month with some 6 and 7K months with a wife who stayed home from work and 2 kids at 2 and 4 years old, hungry, pressured, and ADHD. Scatterbrained, yeah, you and me both. Okay, right on. Some 0K months, yeah, I remember those too. And what are you up to now? Like Dave sent a note about like September was going to be a good one, if you don't mind, because that's, I mean, I'll take some of the credit for like showing you the path, but you get like 99% of the credit here, dude, for taking action and doing the things that are required, which is just absolutely amazing. Also, this is fun and interesting. So my wife stays home as well. And it's because she wants to, and I'm more thankful for that as well. Actually, there's tons of benefits to it as well, even from tax planning purposes. Because like we get charged at like our incremental tax rate is just ridiculous. So every dollar loses 99% of it or whatever Canada decides to take. And then she gets to do what she always wanted to do and stay home and be amazing. So yeah, super sweet. At 16 this month with a couple invoices yet to be paid. Oh, that's wicked. So if they were to be paid, we won't We call this accrual accounting. So accrual accounting is that you count the cash when services are rendered rather than when cash is actually collected, which would be real accounting. I can't remember. Got a C- in accounting. Adam, did you answer my conference question? My kid needed me. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. The short answer is year 1 loses money, year 2 breaks even, year 3 you might make some profit. It might be a shiny object and a bit of a more of a pain than it's worth. Like the reason to do a conference is like you're super driven and all you want to do is a conference for it. But otherwise there's tons of costs and they don't necessarily equate. Easier plan, go speak at a conference. Be at 20K plus this month. Oh, killer, dude. Okay, good for you. That's so cool. That's so cool. You know what's neat about that is it's like an elastic band. So it's like once you earn a certain amount of revenue, you stretch this elastic band to that it never goes back to the same size again. So much so that it becomes uncomfortable. So, and we, again, different people call it different things. Some people call it like a financial thermostat. So if you like set the temperature at like, I can never make less than 5K a month, you'll never go below that. But then once you make 20 and you're like, okay, well, I'll never make less than 10. You won't. And then you make 30. You're like, okay, well, I'm never going to make less than 20. And you won't. Like we just find ways to keep sort of upping it. It starts to become slightly unhealthy, maybe. I think that maybe not. Well, it still sort of does. There does come a point, I think, where you have to like check your bank enough times to be like, all right, I'm actually okay. And now I'm doing it for fun, because that number can continue to grow. Like I remember before my number was like $1 million. I was like, well, I need $1 million, then I'll be safe. And then it was like, okay, well, I need 2, and then I need 3, and then I need 4, and then I need 5, and 5, then we're fine. And then it was 10. And it's like the number never stops. So you've got to actually sort of check yourself a little bit. But yeah, I like keep it growing. Dan told me not to celebrate because this is the new normal. Yeah, I disagree with that one. I think you need to celebrate because you've got to acknowledge the work that you did and the sacrifices you made to get there. So you have to celebrate to like acknowledge that milestone, because otherwise you just go through life being like, this is it. This is the thing. 100 grand a month. You don't celebrate that. 200 grand a month. Don't celebrate that. Like these, we got to celebrate these. So yeah, take your wife out for dinner, get the kids a babysitter, whatever they do these days, friends, family. And then, yeah, you celebrate it. And you're like, hey, this is for the milestone. This is, I'm acknowledging the sacrifices that you made as well by putting up with me when I was a bit scattered and all over and putting in some extra hours. But I think it's actually, I've had a number of therapists tell me this, because I'm not good at it either. It's like, you have to acknowledge your successes, and you have to. Yeah. But then they become the new normal. All right. Okay. Let me see if I can find like one more, because I'm running out of time and I got to go feed and eat. Is it okay to go back to Reach? Have 2 cold email systems working? Yep. 100%. Totally fine. Just keep an eye on your lead lists. Make sure you're not like sending the same lead emails from multiple different places that are the same ones. Really focus on systems to keep it going and growing. Yeah. 100%. Darren Hardy, who's the author of a book called The Compound Effect. He calls it Big Mo, and it's momentum. And he says it's the most powerful force, and I'm inclined to agree. Like once you get that momentum going, you basically want to do everything you can in your power to like fuel that. And again, I think that's another reason to like celebrate your successes, is you want to fuel your momentum. And you want to encourage it and keep it going, because what's really neat is like, as that momentum grows, you just become this powerful source that's able to knock down any obstacle in front of you, because we can throw money or reputation, not the right word, relationships, or like we can throw all of these resources that we've accumulated to the problems. So you just get like bigger and bigger and more powerful, and you're able to withstand so much more. Adam, at what point does the money you make become life-changing? Is it 6 figures or more? I remember you saying the sweet spot was like 50K a month for work-life balance. Yeah, but I think, so let's talk about the bottom one first, and then we'll wrap it here. Oh, Jesse. Yeah. Good man. Okay. Have some celebrations. Yeah. Well, I'll answer this one, Q, I think, and then I'll have to wrap it because I got to go eat, and feed kids. The sweet spot for me was around 50K a month for work-life balance, but I think it's because now it's a lot more, by the way. But at the time it was around 50K a month. And the reason was I didn't have the best systems in place then. So now the sweet spot is like well over 100K a month. And it's because of the systems that can be there so that I still don't really need to do much. Makes me sound really lazy. But that's the fact. I can do other things that I like doing, like building more systems and helping more people. But yeah, I don't think I'd put a specific number on like the sweet spot for work-life balance, because that's more of like a mental thing where I feel this compulsive urge to like just keep making and helping and creating things, which is, again, I think I said this earlier, it's like partly from an unhealthy place, which we're trying to work on, but partly is like, I just love this stuff. Now, at what point does money become life-changing? I think that's different for everybody. There was a few milestones that I hit that were like just unbelievably important. So it's like, I think that the first 10K month was cool because it was like, wow, this is a thing and I can do it. The 50K month, actually 20K maybe as well, was neat. Maybe 30K, I'm trying to remember. 40, I don't think I felt. 50 was neat. I'm trying to remember what I did. I think I hit like 50 and the next month I like backslid really hard because I was like, I didn't have that set point yet where this was what I had to do. The first time it made over 100 a month, it like made a huge jump. We went from like 80 or something like that to like 130. And that was cool. I don't think I celebrated it much because it felt really weird to be making that much money. And then I think the next big jump was like, I don't know, somewhere around high twos or something like that. It was another one where I was like, this is crazy. This should not be a thing. And then every dollar after that really just sort of felt like there was, what do they call it? Diminishing marginal utility of money. So it's like to go from 200 to 300 grand, like your life just doesn't change like at all. Yeah. So life-changing money, I think 6 figures is good. And then I think 20K, 30K take home is like, you can do everything you ever wanted to do. I certainly can. Like we crunched our numbers again and my budget, like excluding like ridiculous world-class travel, like to do everything I want to do and go snowboarding and buy a season's pass and go mountain biking and go to like the nice local places and eat out and have meal prep and buy anything I want. And like all of that, like private school, I think I said already, kids clothes. I've got 4 kids, multiple cars, big property, lots of maintenance, like doesn't cost more than like 20 grand a month. It just doesn't. And then if we factor in like big expensive trips, like, I mean, even a trip that's like 100 grand to take this trip, well, that's still just an extra 10 grand a month, which I appreciate is a lot, but like 20 to 30 grand in an agency is not a huge shift. So yeah, the big thing though, I would say, is figure out what your number is and then push for that. And then ideally we push so where we have a asset pile of cash generating assets that can fund that passively. And then things get really cool. Whew. Okay, Paul. So one last question. I'm going to answer yours, and then I'm definitely got to bail. All right. Can you break down what your management looks like in just the agency business? Yes. So we've got a couple different ones, and they all look a little bit different, but the standard protocol is pretty much some kind of CEO, COO, head operation person that basically is my direct report under. So they handle everything. So they only come to me. Never, honestly. But like if things were like burning to the ground, they would come to me, but they're good now. So they don't do any of that. So they handle everything. Under them, it's account managers. So they basically run the ship and orchestrate everything. So they're the conductor of it. And then under them, they've got the people that handle the clients for each different thing. Oh, hours spent? Oh, for me, like 1 a week? Yeah, it's not much. It's really not much. Like 1 a week? Yeah. I mean, they work full time. And then it's hard to say exactly because I think hours spent on the agency directly, 1 a week is probably accurate. Yeah, it's not, I know it's weird. It's weird. But I think there's the other thing, because I still work like a crazy person out of choice. And then a lot of things have carryover, right? So it's like when I create content. So right now, the single best use of my time is making content. Because it drives the most traffic, it drives the most attention, it builds the brands, people see it from the other agencies, like everything, it just feeds all of the things. So I spend a ton of time making content. That said, I really like it. So I would do it for fun. What about building it up? How much did I spend? Oh, all the time. Yeah, but I didn't do it very smart either. So I worked all the time for years, like all day, every day, forever. But that was dumb. And I should have been more diligent about it. I heard Brian Tracy say once that like, if you're working more than 40 hours a week, you're cheating. And I really liked that analogy of being, yeah, I shouldn't be working this hard. So I cap it at like 50. I still probably cap it at 50 now. But yes, building it up, I would try to do that, because if you're working more than that, we need to start getting other people to delegate and outsource and automate. Yeah. Recommendations: delegate, automate, hire contractors and freelancers. We're actually, I think you missed this part, Paul, but we were talking earlier with Jesse. We're actually building out entire new systems inside the program right now to teach more of the systems to scale from 6 to 7 figures. And so that's going to have all of that in there. And we're like 2 to 3 weeks out max from having that done. So we're going to start to drip it out slowly. So that will help with all of those things. All right. Amazing questions. Yeah, I know. It'll be fun. I'm excited. All right, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thanks for the great questions and all the feedback and kind words as usual. And I will talk to y'all soon. We'll see you in a bit there.